So, my dear Aries, the Earth has continued its path, and we see behind the Sun the constellation Scorpio. And of course, the Moon as well has turned again further around the Earth, and we see now your constellation behind the Moon. We're going to the left because we're going to your new moon. And you had last time Aries full moon that you got the light from Libra, your opposite sign. So now we see Scorpio bringing you transformation, because Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, and Pluto is the shadow side, is the mystic. Pluto is going next year for 20 years into the sign Aquarius, and Aquarius is Uranus. Uranus is a new beginning, is also the Fool, and so we will see what is talking to you right here. Scorpio is then also the 8th house of reincarnation. And so the yoga position for Scorpio is Scorpio itself, bringing the feet above our head and actually letting go, really letting go of the ego, which sometimes can be quite big in your sign. So you, the card number 4, and of course Scorpio is the card number 13. There is magic in giving birth to the new generation, but first we have to let go and die. But calculated together we get the 4, so in a way there is a 4-4 portal right here at this moment, right? And so 2 times 4 is either being creative in the way you open your heart, or being creative in the way you are establishing yourself with the 4 elements, or also the sexual act, right? The second chakra with Scorpio, because Scorpio is la petite mort, is the little death that we experience through the orgasm, because the physical part for Scorpio are the sex organs, and your physical part is the brain. And that's why I give you the meditation, right? No more asana. Here you are sitting in lotus pose, and you are meditating in all 4 directions. And so you who are ruled by Mars, Mars is the power, is the action, right? Is that I am the beginning of the year. I start the Zodiac sign. I am a ruler in my head. But you're also the first house of self, of action, of I know what to do. So he's literally looking a little like this over there. And he's like, oh, you want me to transform? Well, let me see if I accept that, right? Because I'm holding the world. I am holding here the Ankh in my hand, right? And when you feel that you become this person, he holds it from his right hand, and in his left hand he's intuitive with the apple or with the world. So many signs, right, that are coming here to us, and so you will see that this is really all about transformation. This just today, Sun and Moon, right? I do the reading exactly on the day the moon is in your sign, so that I get your energy through the intuition, through my subconscious, right? My subconscious is reading these cards. And so this moment is very unique. It exists only once a year, but if we include the other planets, this moment exists only once in a lifetime. You're the Queen of Wands, and is your birthday between March 12th and April 9th, then she is your court card. she is the first house of self. She's very self-confident, and you can see how she's holding the sunflower, and the cat is looking over to the left. Here's Leo, right? The Leo head, but she's not Leo, she is Aries. So just that you can see that this is the connection to you, right? So this is your court card. And of course, if your birthday is on another date, please look in the description below. I have listed all the cards there. Back to the last reading, right? You had your full moon, that the light came from Libra Sun, which is your opposite sign. So that's the path that goes the most out. And so there is now the arrow that is saying, well, you went from you to Libra, right, to that opposite sign. And the message is you create room for the healing of the patriarch's toxic behavior. And so you are the messenger that brings the inspiration, right? The inspiration that Libra brings, the equilibrium, but also the justice. And so it's very interesting, because I always see that the full moon is that expansion, is that I going out, I want to see the world. And now we're going back to the new moon, because then you have sun and new moon both in your sign, and that's in your month, right? When you begin a seed, and at the same time you are learning to see the right and the left spinning circle. On the position of the judgment, right, the call or the calling, which is also connected with Pluto, I'm gonna pull an extra card here from the Lifruma Healing Oracle. And the Lifruma Healing Oracle has the rune alphabet in it. And here, Scorpio, as a court guard, he's hanging on the tree of life for 9 days, and he's getting the rune alphabet. And so we see now what the message is through Pluto, right? And Pluto then through the last judgment, because Pluto is gonna go into Aquarius next year, 2024, and is gonna change the way we see things. And so here on this position we got the Earth's grip, aired grip, the 29. So the 29 becomes a portal. When we calculate it together, we get an 11. And the 29 plus the 20 is the 49, which is then the 13, which is then Scorpio, which is then the transformation. And so the 13 then, when we calculate it together, we get a 4. So a 4 is left here. And it's clear the message is saying, well, have a look at the Earth's grip, at the 4 elements that are holding us prisoner here in this dimension. We get attached to it, right? And we want to hold on to it. And that's what you're doing, right? You are a little bit like, well, I can just do whatever I want to do as an emperor. So now here the message is like, no, you cannot, right? You have to look at this sign, and you see there are horns, and you have horns because you are Aries, right? You are that empowered being, right? So sometimes it can become a patriarch, and it can become like an overwhelming strong energy that wants to control others. So have a look at this message. You can always stop the video and enlarge it and then read it yourself, but I'm gonna read it to you. Thrice burned, thrice returned. famed and renamed, forgotten yet recalled by Odin from her gravelled realm, Ouroboa, old one in her ironwood grave. So Odin was speaking here, and of course Odin is connected with Scorpio, right? The court card there is Odin. He asked this Jotun seer how Gulveig cheated death. He listened but did not hear. You might cheat your past and rise, craft another future and rise, but the now will eventually find you. Our vessels are from the earth and they will be returned there. So it's about the physical body. Our vessels, right, are created by the earth, and that's what our body is. The bones are like stones, or the teeth are like stones. And then the water element, the muscles, the tears, etc. And then, of course, the fire elements, the hormones that take action in our body. And then the breath, the inhale and the exhale, right? The air elements and the movement. So you are getting a clear message because you already have the 13 here. So Scorpio is going to bring you a big transformation this time. And the 4 is left. So you are going to be a new personality then here through this message, right? Through the earth's grip, the returning to the earth, the letting go. And the Ouroboa is that beautiful play in the sky in Sweden and Norway and in Iceland. We see how the lights are coming down, right? So it's a very majestic kind of game or play there. Okay, so we begin the reading. We are gonna read to the left, remember, right? Because we are going back now to the new moon. And on the position of the Fool, that foolish idea, comes the pages of cup, right? The young generation that is bringing love to you, a feeling of love, and you are with love going back to you. It's almost like, yes, you are getting it, you are understanding it. Something is coming to you that's saying, well, here is Cancer, here's Scorpio, and here's Pisces, and all three are water signs, and all three hold the cup dear in their hand because this is the young generation. And yes, you are taking that step with your left leg, right? You are taking the step forward into the nothing, into back to you, the soul path, right? The spiritual path. And so this is a beautiful message right here. So we have the number 3, which is then with the 0, a 30. And this is Uranus, right? Uranus is connected with that foolish idea, with that new idea that's coming to you. And you are like, okay, I'm just gonna go with love, because the young generation is inspiring me, or the generation of the water signs is inspiring me. And so there is Scorpio letting you know, with love, we let go of the physical body so that we can actually create a new body. And every 7 years we get a new body. And so have a look at how you want to now take that step forward into you. On the position of the Magician comes the staff. And the staff is what the Magician holds in his hand. The staff is the number 51. And the 5 is the 5 senses, the 5 chakras. And the 5 is also then connected with the Hierophant. The Hierophant is Taurus, and Taurus is that earth grip that is holding you, and you want to liberate, because that's what dies at the end, right? When the body dies, that's like what we let go. And so the 51 is seeing the earth's grip and the magic the Magician here. With the 51, we become a 6. We get, with the 51, we get a 6. And the 6 is then that self-love that makes everything easier for us, right? And so the 52 plus the 1 is then, of course, the 52, and the 52 is the 7. And the 7 is the Chariot, is the Cancer energy here in this young generation. Maybe there is a Cancer that is letting you know you have to be successful in when you holding that cup, because love is all there is, right? And it's really important that you understand that. Now here I pulled from the Mother Peace Tarot a card, and it's the 8 of Pentacles, and the card is facing the right. So here you can see the 8 of Pentacles is connected with the Sun in Virgo. And the Sun in Virgo is always that moment where we recognize the work that we're doing. We become a master in it. So now it's facing the right, and we're gonna have a look what that means, because the interesting thing in this deck is that because the cards are round, we get 4 perspectives when a card comes up. And so upright, this card is saying a group of women gathers to share their work. Now, if it's turning to the right, it's saying she's very confident about what she's doing. Perhaps she leads or teaches. And you are leading with the wand. You are leading successfully, the 7, right? With the Magician, successfully the cup that you're holding here. And so this is a very beautiful reminder that you are here then with the 7 that we get with the Magician, and the 8 we get the 15. And the 15 is, of course, the Capricorn energy, the devil, the attachment also to things. And of course, the Magician is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is the information. Mercury is the language that we find to express what we feel deep within us. And the 15, of course, is the attachment to the social status as well. But the 15 is then a 6, and you see the 15 is here as a 51, the reversal. So it's very interesting, right? So you're getting a 6, and then if I calculate the 8 with the Magician all together, we get the 7 and the 8, the 15 again, and out of the 15, the 6 is left. And so the 6 is what is important here, right? The 6 of the staff, or the 6 in all of it, leading, because the number 6 is love, is the lovers, is also teaching, right? And it was the teaching here. Maybe you are teaching now the love that you have experienced here. Maybe in your last reading, right, that you create now a room for the healing of the patriarch's toxic behavior. And you are able to do that, right? Because you know that you are learning now to love, to really love, right, through Scorpio. Then on the position of the High Priestess comes the 3 of Wands. And the 3 of Wands is connected with the Sun in Aries, right? That's the constellation that comes with this card. And so you have the High Priestess, the number 2, you have the 3 of Wands. But you are in the Moon now, you're not in the Sun. Scorpio, right, is now ruling the Sun. And so recognize that when you again have the Sun in your sign, that's when you get your new moon. That's when you get your intuition. and the 2 and the 3 is a 5. And the 5 senses are hopefully controlled by then, because the 5 senses go until here, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chakras until here. Now the 6th chakra is here, and that's why the number 6 is always connected with the 3rd eye, and the 7th chakra is then up here. So the 5 senses need to be controlled. And also you understand with the 3 here that you are learning to become like the Empress, bringing new things in this world, right? Letting the birth of new energies come here. But together in your intuition, you know that these are also tests at the same time, because when we create something new, we get attached immediately to it again. But we have to learn to always let go, right? We give birth to something, but we also at the same time have to let go of it. So this is what's coming here, right? Then on the position of the Empress comes here the Fool. The Fool is connected with Uranus, and Uranus, we had the 3 water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And so Scorpio is playing a role here. Scorpio is saying, well, see and have a look. What is it that you want to begin completely new? What is it that you think as an Empress, as the number 3, with this 3, right, you can achieve by going out again into the world? You want to almost go back to your full moon, but that's finished. That's over. You need to go back to the new moon, and it's almost the cat is saying, where are you going? You need to go to the left. To the left is again the understanding that you learn to be with yourself again. You experienced the full moon. You experienced the outer energy, the most outer energy there is, which is Libra. But now it's time to go back, right? Don't be fooled by your lower desires, by the first 3 chakras, right? And so, which is taking action, which is also sexuality, which is also I want to be whatever I want to be. I want to experience, right, the sun in Aries again, but this is finished. We're going to the left. And so when we look at the Fool here, the Fool is going to the left and he's going to the right. And that's why I'm using all these different decks, because I like to see why they are going to the left and why here they facing the right. Most people think it's because they're looking into the past or they're looking into the future, right? But there's a deeper meaning. To the right is the human material path, and to the left is the soul, the spiritual path to the new moon, and the other one to the full moon. On the position of the moon, right, which is also ruling, of course, the high priestess, the 3 of Wands, where you got the sun in Aries energy, right? Now the moon here, that is in your sign. So you, the 3 of Swords is coming up, and the 3 of Swords is letting you know that Saturn in Libra, right? There is still a Libra energy here, and Libra is always your opposite sign, and Saturn is then connected with the world and are the boundaries, right? Are the lectures that we get. So then here the 3 and the 3 of Wands taking those actions maybe a little too much at this stage, right? Because they came up on the high priestess. Listen to your intuition and find now healing in your mind. Find the healing that says, well, you went through a difficult situation and your heart is still in pain, but it's in your mind. It's not a real pain, but it's in your mind. And the 3-3 portal here is helping you, well, allow your intuition to bring you always the right actions so that this doesn't happen anymore, right? Don't think that you can just do whatever. You cannot, right? The situation is always that when we act negative, then also negativity comes back. And you wanting to go back out, which is good, but also now it is time to come back to you. So you're still a little attached to the last Aries full moon moment, this glorious moment of like, well, I'm out here and everybody's seeing me, right? Because this is your full moon, but Libra gave you the light, and so there is still something that you need to look at. There is a painful situation, right, that you need to look at. And this is connected with your feelings, with your unconscious, because the moon, right, because Aries is in the moon right now, or the moon is in Aries, or when we look at the moon behind the constellation of Aries is visible. Then on the position of the Queen of Wands, you come here in the center of the reading, comes Leo, the strength, a strength that's saying, well, this heart of mine, this lion heart of mine, I'm gonna heal it. And so I think this is why you holding up the cup. This is why you get this feeling deep inside of you, this crazy feeling, I need to heal my heart. And so Leo is coming and giving you the strength because Leo is here above you. And so find the heart to heal yourself, because the 8 is here, plus the 1, you're the first house of self, creates with the 8 and the 1 then a 9, a completion. You are completing a cycle here. You're understanding it's time to move forward. It's time to let this really go. Yes, it was painful, but it's finished. It's done. I don't want that anymore, right? It's still lingering in my subconscious, but I am ready to move on. On the position of then the Sun, which is in Scorpio, comes the daughter of the ones, and these are the princesses, and the princesses are the pages. So here comes Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And so Scorpio is saying, well, then you can heal deep within, because in this deck, death looks like this, right? Death is sitting behind this woman that is almost like saying, well, I lost someone, but death is always that transformation that is lurking all the time, everywhere, wherever we look. And right now in this month, the leaves are falling. And so the death or Scorpio is about the shift, right? About now we are in the middle of fall, and now this is established. This is a fixed sign. And Scorpio is also part of the world, right? And the fixed sign are literally saying, well, you got to see how important this is, that you are now recognizing your new spirit, right, through the new generation, because here comes you, right? Here comes your younger self that comes through this transformation out, because the Sun is connected with your personality, with the way you go out into the world. And so you go out into the world mostly like an emperor, right? You behave like an emperor because you are ruled by Mars. You are ruled by that power, by the strength that's also within Leo, but Leo gets actually ruled by the sun. And so the sun is literally bringing you here as the transformation, a new you, a childhood you that you can heal and that you can now have. Radha, which is a goddess from the Indian mystical stories, and she's the one that plays the flute. She is this exquisite, beautiful energy that is saying, here I am, I want to inspire you, right? I want to bring fire. I want to bring a new inspiration into this world. And Radha is saying that she is, she brings the spiritual truth to the human embodiment, right? She is the one that sings about the spiritual truth with her flute. She is using the wand in a way that you have to learn now, that you can become a flute that is actually bringing the songs of love through also the water signs to the people, to the world, right? So see that you have the strength of Leo, which is in here as well, to actually do that. And he's looking over like her. He has a little bit like that face like her, like, yeah, he's listening to her songs, and he's literally like, yeah, I want to become an inspiration, a completion, a hermit that holds within the tantric union. Wow, powerful. Okay, then on the position of the dream oracle, or the moon that is actually ruling the dream oracle, comes here the first breath, the beginner's mind, the number 21. And the 21 we know is the world. And so the world is transforming itself through a new breath of air, because you bringing that breath of air into the flute, and the 3 and the 18 calculated together. The 18 is the 9 and the 21 is the 3. Then we get a 12, and the 12 becomes a 3 again. So the 3 is left here, and the 3 came with the 3 of wands and with the 3 of swords. So 3 times the 3 here, right? The 3 is the Empress, and the Empress begins something completely new. But remember, you're not going out anymore. You need to go to the left now. You need to go deep within, and you need to take that breath, that exhale. Now we are exhaling. We're not inhaling anymore to the full moon. We're exhaling and we're going to the new moon. Now here I also picked a card from the Mother Peace Tarot, and what came up is you, the Emperor, right? And the Emperor here, he is quite a patriarch. He is that part that you don't want. So the 3 and the 4 calculated together is the 7. Is then the Chariot, is then the success through Cancer, which comes up here on the position of the Fool, that foolish idea that Cancer can also bring to you, or Scorpio, right? The love, hold love. That's what Scorpio and Cancer are bringing to you. So the 3 and the 4 is the Emperor and the Empress. So unite that, because together they begin something new. And so you learning now to let go of the patriarch, because you were in the light. You showed that you can be a patriarch. You showed that you can be an emperor. But now it's back to uniting, right? Back to uniting the sexual energy deep within through the 9, through the Hermit, right? And you use Leo's strength, which is also a sexual energy, right? Leo is all about passion and sexuality. So you are learning now to really change this energy of this emperor, because I mean he's actually not really a good energy, right? Because he came upright, I'm gonna just read to you the emperor's energy. The upright, the emperor is the wielder of raw power. He holds fast to his plans and stands his ground with an eye on expansion. This energy can be destructive if it overlooks consequences to other people or the environment. How we use this energy is critical to our quality of life. This is the energy of a 4-year-old who wants to own the world and shouts, "Mine." He needs help to remind him when to share. Wow. This card is a portrait of Alexander the Great, a man who wanted to rule the world. So, Alexander the Great, who wants to rule the world, but the world is the 3. If you really want to rule the world, then understand the Empress deep within you. Understand that you have the Queen of Wands, right? You're not the King of Wands, that's Leo. And so you are the Queen of Wands. So understand the feminine side and use the feminine side to control this wild beast, but not in a controlling way, in a way where you do it with love. And that's why here this idea of I do it with love came up deep within you. Then on the position of the Sun, which is of course in Scorpio, comes then a breakthrough, comes this inner core breakthrough. The 18 is the 9 and the 19 is the 10. The 10 and the 9 is 19. 19 is the 10. The 10 is left. And so the 10 is letting you know you are now arriving at a moment of true liberation, true transformation from this type of thinking. I want to rule the world, right? But no, you cannot rule the world. You can live with the world, and you have to live with all the creatures together, right? And so here comes the deep liberation of an inner core, a solid state of consciousness that's saying, I am liberating myself. I am freeing myself from all the past negativities, from things that don't make sense anymore, right? Because it's done, it's finished. And also that you think you can just do and control and always have this established strength. Yes, this is when the Sun is in your sign, but right now it's time to let go. And so here as well, I picked from the Mother Peace Tarot a card, and what came up is Scorpio, the Death card, facing down. Now here it's upright, right? And you see how the snake is holding the skeleton, and the skeleton is becoming part of this tree again. Now reverse, we're gonna look what that means, because we know that the reverse is always a very different perspective. So what is liberating you here in the Death card? As the reverse, it's saying death is slow or unconscious. She holds onto a dead form and may not be ready to let go. She may feel numb or stuck. Now, at the same time, you see here this deep liberation. So recognize that you have to liberate yourself out of this. Liberate yourself out of the death that you maybe fear, because we have, remember, the 10. and the 10 and the 13 is the 23, and the 23 becomes the 5. The 5 senses, you're holding on to the 5 senses, you're holding on to wanting to, yeah, be part of always this dimension, right? And understand that death comes. Death is imminent to all of us, and we cannot just be here and say, well, I don't want to be dying, because there is a liberation in dying. Now, when the card is upright, right, it says, or general, the card says, the death goddess places bones at the base of a birch tree. Carefully she puts the body in the shape of a fetus in a womb. Soon she will be ready for a new life. The old one is over. Leaves fall to cover the bones. So, because it's reversed, right, you are holding on, and you're holding on, but something still is saying you got to liberate. That's what Scorpio is saying, because the sun is in Scorpio. You got to liberate. You got to let go, right? Let go. Because in a way, here's a 4-4 portal, right? And with you, then who's feeling that 3 times the 4, right? And so allow to let go, right? And free yourself from this, because you don't want this really anymore. That's why this came. Don't hold on to the old you, right? Create a new you, because if you don't do that, on the position of the world, right, the last card now comes the 3 of Swords again. And so the 3 of the 21, when we calculate it together, the world is literally a 3-3 portal here. And we can see that Saturn, the border and the holding on to the squareness of life, right, is making you really sad. And so you got 2 times the 3 of Swords. So the 3 of Swords is framing here the 18. Liberate yourself, let go, and don't hold on, right? Don't hold on to something that's literally saying, no, it's finished, because you see how this bird is flying out of the head, and it's both ways, right, that they looking at. One is looking at the left and the other one is looking at the right, and this is the cycle of life. And if we understand this cycle of life, of how the moon is influencing us and how the earth is spinning and turning, and that there are different cycles, there are processions and precessions and etc. There is so much that influences us, and this moment is literally saying let go, because there's a deep liberation that you then gonna experience, because you want to really let go of this sadness of whatever it happened to you, right, through this 3 of Swords, which is Saturn in Libra. And so when I close the reading now to the beginning, right, you can see that only love can heal this, right? And only love is capable of taking now the step back deep within, where you're gonna face your fears, right? Maybe you are afraid that this is happening again. It happened to you again, and maybe you're afraid it happens again. And this is, well, the liberation, because when you see here, you see the lines here with the light that she, even though she sits here and the light, and she's coming out and she's liberating herself, and at the same time there's also this, right, there's this bird coming out, and at the same time her position is the fetus position, the way she sits here, right? And so because it's facing down, right, it's like let go, really let go. It's kind of like then you really can bring true love, innocent true love into this world, and even play the flute with it, right? And say, I understand now. Water and fire are creating new things. Wow, what a reading. I hope I see you in the next one, because then we have Sagittarius behind the sun, and Sagittarius is here through the 3 fire signs, right? We have Aries and we have Leo, which came up here, as well as the major arcana on the position of your court card. And so Sagittarius is in here as well, right? So you're gonna see in the next month that you are gonna play the flute. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.